All right. This video is in response to a comment, a question from user at Jonathan Fudge 571, who I will tag in the comments and description to make sure that he sees this. But he was asking a follow-up question to an earlier video about creating automation surrounding checklists in Trello. He had a very specific use case that he wanted to see if it was possible to do with automation. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up on the screen here so that you can take a look at it and see what he was asking for. Now, let me talk you through what I created for this. So this is a two-part automation. It's not overly complicated, but it does need to be done in 2 steps. And it's an automation that does not require any premium features. So there's an aspect of it that is manually triggered. And I did that mostly because of the use case. Sounds like it's something that would be a manual copy of that card to the next card. So this is something that could potentially be done a little bit more automated. But I've done this with a button to show a little bit more of a manual interaction with it. But essentially, the 2 automations that we have here. First, we have an automation, it's this bottom one here. And this is saying when an item, so in this case, a lesson, is checked or marked complete on a checklist, and the checklist is his, as his example, the 100 lessons checklist, then you take that item that was just marked complete and add it to a secondary checklist called completed lessons, and then you remove it from the original checklist. That's the first part of this, and that's pretty important part of it because it is very easy to copy a card with a checklist, but it doesn't store what you have marked complete. It just keeps them all incomplete, right? And I did do a little bit of digging and research into, is there a way to copy it with the completion? And there are ways, but it's very complicated. It requires like a level of using script, which is something that we don't really go into on this channel because that's a lot more technical than we're trying to be. We want this to be easy, right? So we do this first thing where, so we take an item, when a lesson is completed, it gets moved down to the completed lessons checklist, which honestly, I kind of love anyway, because it helps you be able to look back and see which lessons were completed when in a much easier way, I think. So hopefully that suits your needs, Jonathan. So that's part 1. And then part 2, and here's where we created a button. When we click this button, it's going to copy that card to the bottom of the list, but you could change where it goes, right? It could go on any list, any board, whatever you need. But I'm copying it to the bottom of the list and removing all of the items from that completed lessons checklist, because those will also copy over, right? So we don't want that. We want that to be empty so that it can now be filled with the lessons we complete today. So let me show this to you in action so you can understand what I'm talking about. So here's our original card. I've already done a little bit of testing here, which is why you can see that lessons 1 and 2 are on our completed lessons list instead of being on the original 100 lesson checklist. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to test this with our second card, but I did a test already where I moved the lessons down and then I copied the card, and we ended up with a card that only had the incomplete lessons from the first card and didn't have anything on the completed lessons checklist. So let's see this in action. So our first automation is to move those completed lessons. So let's complete lessons 3 and 4. You can see how they get moved. And now let's say it's the next day and we only want these to move on to our copied card. So I'm going to go ahead and hit incomplete lessons only. This is what I called the button. And you're going to see this is going to come up and see how it started with 8 checklist items, but now it only has 6. That's because when we open it, we're only going to see the lessons that were left, 5 through 10, and completed lessons is now empty until we mark lessons complete today. So hopefully that's close to what you were looking for, Jonathan, and that it helps to make your process run a little bit smoother, a little more automated. And if you have questions like Jonathan had, leave them in the comments and maybe a future video will be created just for you. The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy.